Well, there are 31 NFL franchises. Of them, there are 7 black quarterbacks who started yesterday. 32 years ago, that was unheard of. And until 1968, there had never been a black quarterback in the NFL, let alone one that started. But through an overwhelming and never-failing determination, Marlin Briscoe changed all that. His remarkable story is one of the NFL's best-kept secrets. When Marlin Briscoe was just 10 years old growing up in Omaha, Nebraska, he unconsciously challenged the times, unknowingly carving out a piece of history.
And the coach, he came up to me and said, okay, all of the receivers over here, running backs over here, defensive backs over here, quarterbacks over here. And, you know, I'm 10 years old, and all I knew it was that I wanted to be Johnny United. I jumped into the quarterback line, and the coach, he kind of looked at me kind of funny. He said, you're in the wrong line. Don't you want to be over here in the running back line or maybe a defensive back? I said, no, I want to play quarterback. And once he saw me play, he said, hey, son, come here. You're a quarterback. And so it started that day when I jumped in the so-called wrong line.
More than a decade later, Briscoe was still jumping in the so-called wrong line. Only this time, he consciously challenged the turbulent times of 1968 when he was drafted by the Denver Broncos.
We'll get a score. Take it easy. We'll be all right.
Despite being an All-American quarterback in college, Briscoe, who was drafted as a defensive back, knew Broncos coach Lou Saban would never give him a fair chance at QB. So Briscoe had it written into his contract that during training camp, he was to get a 3-day tryout at quarterback.
That's how it started.
Saban had every intention of using Briscoe as a defensive back. But in the last preseason game, he pulls a hamstring and Briscoe doesn't see any action for the first 2 games. Meanwhile, quarterback Steve Tinsey has re-injured a separated shoulder.
I go to my locker, and there's a number 15 in my locker. So my automatic thoughts was, I was cut. I got ready to turn away from my locker, and here comes Lou Saban. So he says, my friend, you see the number 15 in the locker? I said, yes, sir. He said, that's your number now. You're now a quarterback. I about died.
This is quarterback Marlin Briscoe.
Go, Marlin.
On September 29, 1968, with the Broncos behind in the 4th quarter, Lou Saban called Briscoe's number, and history was set in motion. Do you remember that moment?
Oh, yeah,
is it
vivid moment.
In 11 games, Briscoe threw 14 touchdown passes, a Denver rookie record that still stands 32 years later. But Briscoe's tenure at QB was short-lived. He was not given the chance to fail the following year. He was secretly out of the position he coveted and asked for his release. He went on to play wide receiver with Buffalo and Miami. He was all-pro at receiver, won a receiving title, and much to the credit of Lou Saban for having traded him from the Bills to the Dolphins, Briscoe won 2 Super Bowl rings, one as a member of that undefeated 72 Dolphins team.
Had a heck of a career.
When you look back at what you have accomplished, all you have accomplished, and your 2 Super Bowls and an undefeated team and a receiving record, and being the first black quarterback to ever start an NFL game, what's your proudest moment?
Oh, the QB. I'm very proud of the fact that on every level, regardless of my size and regardless of my color, that always persevered. You know, they saw that a black man could think and throw the football.
Is that what you did? Did you prove that a black man could think and lead the team at the same time?
Exactly. Think, throw, and lead.
He carried the torch for all the Moons, the Culpeppers, the Cunninghams, and the Kings.
I'm probably one of the best-kept secrets of the NFL.
And he really is. You know, Marlin mentioned his size. He was just 5'8", which of course only adds to the aura of his incredible journey. Today, Briscoe, ever involved in his community, is the assistant project manager for the Watts Willowbrook Boys and Girls Club, helping to get the new center up.